Hi people, once again, I'm Ankita and I'm a patient of alopecia. It's an autoimmune and hormonal condition. You don't actually experience any physical pain or any physical aches or anything, but it damages you emotionally. It makes you emotionally weak. It's the medicine that damages you physically. So that's one side effect or one effect of it. My mom noticed a tiny hair thinning at the back of my scalp, and we rushed to the doctor that same day. My medication started immediately, and I would apply the medication and try to cover the patch and go to school. But let me be very honest, kids can be really mean. They would tease me, they would make fun of me, and I started hating going to school. I wanted to be invisible. In just 6 months, I had lost 95% of my hair, almost 95%. And I just don't want to face the world. We never heard of this condition ever before. We tried every single medical test. But blood test, anything, nothing. No doctors could find any imbalance in them. We reached out to Mumbai's best doctor, and he put me on a mild dose of steroid. We noticed some improvement. At the same time, we also noticed some side effects. The side effects were like I had excess hair growth on my face. I was swollen. My whole body was swollen, and many more, like weak memory, which you guys already noticed, or many other things. Then it all started getting worse, but I had to continue. I have taken medications in a way that I have taken injections on my scalp. I have taken multiple injections on my scalp. My mom and my dad or my parents, my family would hate see me go through all these things. But we couldn't find any other alternative. That's the only way that we had. In a year and a half, we noticed some improvement. And in I think 11th, I started growing my hair back. I had almost grown my hair till little above my waistline, and I was in love with them. But somewhere back of my mind, I always had that fear that it will hit me again. And I don't know, it was my fear or what it was, it did. During the second semester of my graduation, it started again. But this time, we knew what had worked for me before. So we went back to the same medication. But this time, it was even worse. In just a month, I had lost all my hair. No medications were working. Nothing helped. I just couldn't take it. I was broken, I was hurt. And that was the time when I was ready to take a new leap in my life. A job, I had plans, I had expectations. And this was like a strike on all those plans. And this time I couldn't keep my shit together. Actually, I just couldn't bear it. I was depressed. So I had no idea, I had no clue how to face people, what to say, how people are going to react. Forget about others. I had no answers to give to myself. I didn't know how to move ahead. So I decided, I don't know what it was. So I decided to break the contact with the world. I stopped talking to everybody. I stopped responding to calls, messages. I wouldn't even talk to my parents. I had locked myself in the house. For a year, I would step out of my house. I would step out of my house only for the medical test or the doctor's visits. Then there came a point, in all these years, I had developed a defense mechanism that I wouldn't talk to anyone. And even if I did, I would talk to them arrogantly. So no questions asked, no answers given. I drastically changed myself. I would dress like a boy, talk like a boy, and walk like a boy, actually. And my body stature helped me in that. I had become socially awkward person. You guys have experienced it now, so I don't need to explain anymore. Things just got so out of control that it was difficult for me. Or I would say it was difficult for my whole family. Because it wasn't just me who was going through it, it was my whole family who was going through it. After a year and a half, I realized that I can't lock myself in the house and I can't just stay here. This is not what I want. But I wasn't ready to step out of my house. I wasn't prepared. So I wore a wig and I started living a lie. Knowing the fact I wouldn't have eye contact with people. I would avoid eye contact. It's been 4 years. I'm working in the digital marketing industry and 5.5 years wearing that wig. I think I have achieved something, if not anything, at least my professional life. Again, I was changing. Thank you for those who are like trying to encourage me here. Things again started changing. I realized that this wasn't the end, I guess. I had to go ahead. Can I just take a look at my notes? Because I have already forgotten what is next. Again, I was changing after that point, but this time it was for good. I was improving, evolving as an individual. And I think that all, my parents were the most important element of all this journey. They taught me and actually set an example for me to fight, and I continued fighting. In all these years, I think one formula that helped me or kept me going was laughter is the best medicine. And it did work for me, I can tell you that. And then this whole thing happened, and then the major incident happened. I traveled by train daily. And I had this fear, I would travel with great fear that one day my wig will come off. 8 months back, I was traveling by train, I was boarding the train, one lady pulled my hair and that wig came off and fell on the platform. For a few seconds, just seconds, I don't know how much time I was standing there. I was numb. I had no clue. Tears started rolling down my face. I picked that wig up, I turned around and I went back home. I dropped a message to my colleague saying that I'm not coming to office without any explanation. For next 2 days, I stayed at home. I cried. I was thinking about my situation so much. I thought a lot about it. You're not allowed to cry right now. One of my friends is crying there and I'm not gonna cry. That's why because my formula is laughter is the best medicine. I'm not gonna cry and you are not allowed to do that too. So, where was I? Thank you. So, the thought of, I thought a lot about my situation. And I had thought about getting rid of that wig multiple times. But I had shared that idea, shared it with my mom too. She had openly supported that. But I think I could never gather the courage to do that. I think I needed a kick, solid kick. And this was it. After 2 days, I stepped out of my house without a wig. For sure. I was wearing a floral dress. I was wearing a floral dress. I went to the office. I don't want to do invisible anymore. I didn't want people to ignore me thinking I'm a boy. Now I don't look like a boy. I'm not a boy. I went ahead with that. I think my it's not something that I have done very differently. I am an ordinary girl like anyone here. Anyone. Girl or anyone out here. Boy. It's just my decisions that have been more than ordinary. And these decisions, this whole thing was all thanks to my family and the friends who are standing here and crying. I think in all this thing, I learned one thing, that everything that happens for good. And this situation, I don't know why you guys can relate to it or not, but because of this situation, I learned that I experienced fear. I learned to fight my fear. I learned patience. It's been like almost 12 years I am dealing with this condition. And I think one biggest thing that I learned is that before anybody else here, it's me who had to accept myself. I had to accept myself. I did that, I think, to some extent. I hope you guys do too. After all the mess up, I think I have managed to reach where at least I have been able to justify why I was here. Managed to make some people cry also. I think during this whole thing, this is one thing I would like to say. Okay, in all, during this whole journey, one biggest element of my journey is the people I know, my family, and my friends who are crying here. I think that's more important. I think they were the one who made me awesome. I'm not that awesome. They are awesome. And you guys are awesome. Thank you.